All right, so jumping back to, let's see, I'm going to jump back into Blackboard here just to start out. Since we had. All right, so just as a reminder for this week, you guys should already have access to your NetLab Plus pod. I think I fixed everybody that had issues. I saw lots of good discussion on Discord in terms of trying to form up teams and break out the individual parts. That works great. Make sure that you're participating in doing that in some form. So, for example, I know there's a bunch of people doing the indexer, for example, right? You're more than likely going to need potentially up to more than one indexer, depending on how we deploy and lay things out, that kind of stuff. So the biggest thing is don't just deploy the software. Make sure you guys are keeping notes on that software, all right? On how you're doing it, everything else. If you choose to screencast it or something like that, and then send me the video, that will work too. I am still working on the documentation side. I know I said I'd cover it here today. I'm trying to add a couple more extra features that make it a lot easier to navigate. It's actually going to tie in with Discord and all that kind of stuff. So not just the little bot and grading part, but it like pulls your account, let it does its thing so that you guys don't have to repeat a bunch of information between. In other words, I can pull your name so I can match up your chats in the discussion bot and makes things a whole lot easier. So there's a couple more tweaks I want to make in that before I get it deployed. I'll more than likely have that ready then for Tuesday. Let's see here. Caden put out a video on BG Info for your guys's inner virtual machines. Everybody will need to do that. So that will be a quote graded item on that PC is making sure that you go in and do the BG Info stuff. So if you're looking for the video, it's out there in the playlist, that kind of stuff. And then make sure your Windows PC has all that up there. Let's see here. With that, at some point, once you guys get all of Waza set up and everything else, whoever the team is that's working on the agents or responsible for making sure everything gets deployed on the agents, everybody will have to deploy the agent on their own individual pods. So whatever that team is will be responsible for making sure people are doing that. If they're not, they can poke them, prod them on Discord, whatever. Hey, you don't have it in. At some point, we'll set a deadline and that team will basically set the deadline. Say, hey, this is no different than deploying it out in a real company. You have until Friday at whatever to deploy this exe file, go deploy the exe or the whatever. That team will be responsible for redoing a short screencast, just like Caden did for the BG Info, so that everybody knows how to deploy it on their own individual pod. Kind of make sense? That way we can start getting everybody's feedback out there. Now, obviously, when everybody shuts down a pod, those VMs aren't up and running, right? So you're not going to get those agents responding all the time. We will probably go ahead and deploy, I don't know, 5 extra pods that will be that nobody logs into, but they will have that information set up and they will always be on. That way, when somebody comes in later to look at the dashboard, there'll always be at least some agents online, not just their own kind of thing. But again, I'll leave that team up to do whatever they want to do on that side. That's the other thing I'm working in that documentation system. You guys will be able to create a team and then send a code. Whoever first creates the team will create the team. It'll have a code inside the documentation system. You send the code out to all the other people that join your team. That makes it so much easier for me to grade on everything that you guys are going to submit. So when you guys submit your documentation, it gets submitted as a team effort, and you guys can all edit each other things to update that documentation as we go. So I don't know. It's a really interesting documentation system that's kind of morphed out of lack of sleep. So I think by next year, it'll actually be pretty cool. I will be looking on, once this gets deployed, I need feedback on that documentation system. What works, what doesn't work. If you guys are getting errors, I need all of that because I'm going to try to consistently keep that code up to date. Anybody have any bulk questions before we start? Somebody's got one here in the chat.
It's just a statement.
Yeah. Yeah, this isn't meant to be a stress deal. It's more meant to, I know most people like to work on their own and just not do all the other stuff. However, when you're in a SOC, that's like the last thing you can do, right? You gotta have to work with everybody else in there. Whether you're the low level, take in the entry commands, or you're the high level, you're all going to have to work to make sure that all kind of comes through.
So is there only like 3 groups?
I think right now there's only 3 in that you have what, the indexer, the dashboard, and the server.
Yeah.
But there again, you guys are going to need somebody that actually deploys all the agents, and they're going to have to work with the server people. You're going to have any other software that we choose to deploy can be another team. So if you're thinking that you have to get on one of those 3, that there's nothing else to do, remember you have the agents that need to be deployed. You have all the policies and procedures that need to be written. And that may not be as complicated as it sounds, right? Use your AI friends to help you generate a template and then work with your team to modify the template for what it works in this class. You know what I mean? You don't have to be an English essay writer. I need you to write technical documentation. So there's all sorts of other teams. If you're running out of ideas and nothing out there really sounds good, bring it up in the Discord in there. Hey, what else needs to be done or what else could possibly be done in this SOC? I'll try to jump in and try to throw that stuff in. So I will say, because we're taking a big group of students out to Denver this weekend, I probably won't be as active on Discord Friday, Saturday, but I'll try to keep an eye on it as we go through. Those guys are also going to see a live SOC out there. So I'm hoping that they bring back ideas, throw them in the Discord, some pictures, whatever they allow us to do. So that you guys can get ideas of maybe something you want to throw in this. All right, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Gage and Caden and let them present on how to log into the Proxmox system, how to download the ISOs, the do's and don'ts of that system so they don't blow up everybody else's work as we're going along. The number one thing I will say, because this is a shared environment, please be protective. If you think you're going to end up blowing something up for somebody else, ask in the Discord before doing it. And we're going to try to do multiple backups throughout the day is my intention. If we can get it linked up to a Proxmox, I'll throw a data store in there. We'll tell it to back up every, I don't care, 6 hours, whatever. Storage isn't an issue. So at least we have some way for people to go back. Every hour would get a little hairy. The system will stress itself out then. Yeah. But if we can do it every 6, 12 hours, we should be okay.
So those VMs are going to get large enough, they may take an hour to back up.
Exactly. Let's see here. So I need to come down to the other screen. Let's go here. Before I let them jump in, does anybody have any questions on the pods or issues getting access, anything like that? Okay, cool. Let's see here. Good, we actually did record. Do you want me on Cadence?
Yep.
All right, I'm going to turn it over to them.
All right, so I am on my Windows 11 VM. You're going to want to open Google Chrome, and you can go up here to, we have bookmarks for the 3 Proxmox servers. You can just log into host 31, 172.23.41. Your usernames are going to be the first part of your student email. And so like mine is like C_mayor or mayor2. And then usually you would do that mail.fhsu, but that's what that is. And then
It's just your standard username for the college.
Yeah.
We put in as many as we could, but that list was based off of 2 or 3 days ago. If you have since created a NetLab account, you're going to have to put something in the support chat in Discord for Kate and me to make a username for you on Proxmox.
There should be 2 people. It would be Ian and Christopher. If you would double check out of NetLab and pull those in if you don't already have them, we can do that. Those should be the only 2 that I had to make changes for.
And your default password for everyone, we're probably going to have you change it, but the default password for everyone is just lowercase cyberops. It's the same password as your Windows VM that you're on. You'll be able to log in.
I would strongly suggest you guys change that. And if you guys end up wanting to create a quick video how to do that, because some people might not, or show them how to do it.
We could show them how to do it.
That would be good.
Yeah. So to change your password, I'm pretty sure you said you can go up here.
Yep. Go up to your user account. There's a change password area.
Calling me.
And you can do your current password, cyber
It's
ops,
just your names.
and then new password. I'll create my password.
That's why.
And you can change your password just like that. So pretty straightforward. And so here we are in the Proxmox environment. We have 3 servers. So we're going to want to, it depends on how many VMs we get, but we can eventually just spread them out across each server. But we can look at RAM, we got plenty of that.
Not to interrupt, sorry, Caden.
Yeah.
When you guys get into this documentation system, it's gonna pull your Discord stuff, like your email address and your user ID, just so that I can match everything up as we go. Obviously, your Discord ID probably isn't going to be your mail FHSU account. So what I will do in the system is have you guys have a spot to put your Fort Hays email. I will need you to update that profile, because then what Gage and Caden can do is they can pull that from the doc system and figure out what users are part of what team, and then you guys can do group permissions so that you're not, you know what I mean? If somebody starts a VM, you probably have permissions right now where they can't tear down somebody else's VM, right?
We can do that on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. So the idea would be is if you're part of a team, that you would have access to the VMs and be able to do whatever of that team. Does that make sense? So as long as you guys fill out those Fort Hays email addresses in the doc system, I can give them access to export that out and marry that all up to the Proxmox system.
Some of you are probably having trouble logging in. There is one thing we forgot to mention.
Oh.
You have to go down here and change the realm. It will default to the Linux PAM standard auth user. This is only available for our root administrator, so everyone else is going to have to do this Proxmox V authentication server.
Yes.
What's the username and password?
It'll be your normal FHSU username, so like the beginning of your @mail address, and then the default password is all lowercase cyberops.
Aiden, can you go over how to change the password again? Because I wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't have a valid subscription.
Yeah, you just click OK and you move past that. Okay, so how to change your password again, you're just gonna go up to this top right box where it has your little name, this little drop down menu, and you just click password, and you should be able to put CyberOps and then your new password. Okay, and we'll get permissions figured out. Currently, I think you just have wide access.
We're going to have to make a custom user account, because right now everyone's administrators, just because there's certain privileges you guys need, and we're trying to fine tune those out. If there is ever something that you can't do, again, just message us in support. We'll get that fixed as soon as we can.
Okay.
And those will be things that we'll add to the documentation when it's up. I'll more than likely just have you two throw quick documents in there and that kind of stuff. For Gage, it'll be a copy and paste out of the old labs. Like, don't overthink it. Just, you know what I mean? The steps and all this, I know you wrote them in the labs. Just copy and paste that. Close enough anyway.
Something similar.
Okay. Well, that's how you log in. Next, you want us to go over installing like ISO and like being able to
Showing them how to download the ISO.
how
Yeah.
to download the ISO.
Sure. Let's.
Okay. So
We're default using Ubuntu servers. Let's just go try and find.
Yes. So you're not going to want to install the ISO locally onto your Windows machine. That's going to take up a lot of storage. And so Proxmox has a feature where you can go to data.
That's our main storage area. Pretty much that's what you're going to want to use for everything. There's also local and local LVM, but we're going to try and limit our use of that as much as we can.
Yeah. I assume you removed all the other tags, so ISO only works on data.
Nah.
If not, take that off that one so that they don't.
So they don't confuse it. Yeah. So you'll want to go to ISO image. It looks like Ubuntu desktop is on this one, but so you usually, if you download it to your local machine, you click upload and you can upload the ISO from your local machine, but we don't want to do that. We want to do download from URL. And so we need to go find the URL for the Ubuntu server 24 ISO file. So we'll probably, there is a Ubuntu 20, there we go, LTS. Now, I don't know if this,
I think you gotta click into
I think I have to
it,
click
and then it'll
into
give
it.
you an alternative download link.
yeah, that's,
Yeah, so there's a download now link. You'll see a lot of these. It depends on site to site, but you can just cancel the local download and there'll be an alternative link
Link.
if it doesn't work.
yeah. And you're going to want to go and copy this link address. This is the direct link to download Ubuntu server. You'll go here and you'll paste it into this.
Which one did you copy?
We copied for like Ubuntu server, we copied this download now link to be able to grab.
Not everyone needs to actually download it.
Yeah.
We don't need 13
Yeah,
copies.
no, so we're,
So don't
we're,
do this?
it-
Okay.
this is just how to, but
Yeah.
we'll install Ubuntu server for the first time just to show.
But if
Oh,
you
so-
guys,
So by you guys uploading this, it
yeah,
shows
this
for
is
everyone.
available for everyone.
For
But if like
everyone.
there's another different ISO or like a certain piece of software you want to download, this is a possible way to do it.
This is a possible way to do that.
So yeah, query.
Query, and then it'll pop up. It went and found it. It says live server, file size, everything. And so you can pretty much go hit download.
So one thing to note is this is only doing this on host 41. So if your team's working off one of the other hosts and you need a Ubuntu server, you would then have to follow that process in order to do that, if that ISO is not already there. As far as the operating system, I don't care if you guys use Ubuntu, if you want Debian 13, whatever you guys feel comfortable with. I wouldn't go down the Red Hat route. I just wouldn't. You're going to run into all sorts of package issues. I would stick with either Ubuntu or a Debian 13 type flavor or something in that realm, just so you don't sit there and fight package issues.
Debian and Ubuntu are, I can't speak for some of the online students or some of us that have more experience, but like if you want help from like Caden or me, our experience is probably more in depth with Debian based distros like Ubuntu. So going that route allows us to help you guys a little more if you run into a problem or something.
That pretty much goes for the internet now too.
Basically everything.
All the documentation is for Ubuntu or Debian. So
It really is.
that's okay. So that is downloaded. So you have Ubuntu live server. There's a desktop and a server. That's two different ones.
You click on data 42.
Yeah, like Jason.
You'll notice here Windows servers is available there.
Mhm.
So the Ubuntu stuff isn't. So you would have to go through those steps to download Ubuntu if you're working off 42.
Yep.
Do you guys have any place that you want to locate certain VMs?
It's really just a balancing act. We're going to see how it goes, but if we can distribute the load out between the three servers, everything's going to run better.
Should be
Each
fine.
server has a limited amount of resources, and we just got to be wary of that. Like if you go up to the summary panel of one of the hosts, like go to the first one because it has something running. Just to show them, like this one has 2 VMs on it. We're using 10 to 20% of the CPU at any point in time, 10% of the RAM. We just got to watch these metrics to make sure we're not overloading any one system. Especially when we get into Wazaa and some active indexing, it's going to take up usage.
So there's no, I don't want to dictate what, this group go here, this group go there. The whole goal here is that you guys as a SOC would notice, hey, that's getting in the red all the time. We need to rebalance, right? So it's not just cybersecurity management. You're also going to do SysOps management, which quite frankly is the job anymore. You're not just going to look at alerts. You may be in part of the SysOps team as well.
That said, don't be totally scared about being worried where you're going to put the VM and worried about what it's going to do in 2 weeks, we can move these around. We can migrate them from one host to another. So like if it does start getting in the red and we need to move some things, that's totally possible.
The only caveat of migrating the stuff around is then you guys have to go through that adventure of migration. So that involves turning off virtual machines at times because of the different things that you're running, things like that, which would take the system down. So, yeah, in this environment, not a huge deal. But if you guys were doing it in production, obviously you would have change control, change management, and you would have to alert the team, that kind of stuff.
Do we want to go through like an example of how to set up a VM, or like what do we want to?
Yeah, I would do just a basic start on a VM.
A basic start on a VM. Okay.
Deploy that Ubuntu server that you showed.
Okay, so we'll go up here. You can go up to here to host 41, and you can right click, or you can even click. You can even click the button. There's a button up here. You just have to click host 41, create VM, create CT, or you can right click. So we'll do create VM, node, host 41, VM ID.
Will we all do this one? Or just you?
This is just to be able so you can go back on the video and say, oh, this is how you.
You guys are happy
Somewhat.
to follow along and like go through it. Just don't click confirm at the end to actually create it.
Yes.
Or if you do choose to do this, say for example, you're on the indexer team, right? You're going to have one overall image that'll be the actual final one that everybody can work on. But if you want to go and walk through it yourself, please do that in this environment. Just put -delete at the end so that when you're done with everything, everybody knows that that one's going to get deleted. Does that make sense?
Yep.
In other words, I don't want just one person installing it. If somebody else really wants to do that just to get the experience, by all means, just put -delete or -keep on the ones you want to keep. It's a simple name thing.
Also, take note at the bottom of this little create virtual machine window is an advanced box. You're going to probably want to click this for some extra options just in case. Don't be overly worried. Like there's a lot of settings that go into this and half of them are totally optional. So if you don't understand something, it's probably optional. Don't worry about it too much. Just go through documentation, read some more about Proxmox, use AI to see what's needed, what it thinks is going to be helpful for this environment. This is a playground environment. It's going to be pretty hard to break.
Yeah, I don't expect everybody to be Proxmox experts here. We have a class for that, right? So we'll get you as much as you need and we'll get it in the documentation so you guys can do that. And then in the future, I'll probably start pushing a little more for that class before we start here. Let's see, do you want Discord on the VM correct? You don't have to, Bo. Now that we will have this documentation set up, you don't necessarily have to install Discord on your VM. The only reason for that was so that you could easily copy and paste things across. I get after saying that in the first class, I realized I myself will have access to your VM when needed. So will Sam, and we're doing that to grade your machine. But that also means your Discord may be already logged in. We don't want to inadvertently see your stuff. We don't want anything to do with that. So make sure if you do install Discord on the inside for whatever reason, just log out. Don't have it set to auto log in. That way, when we go to grade your machines, we're not in your accounts kind of thing.
Okay. So I know you have this numbering system set for each.
The VM ID is just to
Just do whatever the next one is. So don't try to tweak all the VM IDs. Just take the next one that's available.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'll be tripping all over everybody.
And so it's like 300,001. We could do 2. So
don't worry about it a lot. Like it's not going to change things. It's just an organizational thing in Proxmox.
and just I go
Yeah,
back.
space the name.
Okay. Oh. You know. So we won't do start boot OS. Our storage is data.
You're just going to grab that ISO image you downloaded, or it's already there in the data folder.
Live server.
This one's a Linux one, so you can keep the guest OS type there, but you can also set it to Windows if you have a Windows VM running. If you do start using Windows VMs, there's some more steps to that, but you can read online about how to do all that.
Data live. Next.
System tab, there's not much you probably need to edit here. You may go enable the chemo agent and install that on your system.
You must have that installed.
And we'll show you how to install that and how to enable it properly on Proxmox. But yeah, nothing on this page. You just leave everything disabled. Okay, for your drive, you're gonna want SCSI, your storage,
Keep it on data.
data.
And there again, disable that on local. Make
Yeah.
that-
I actually can't for the storage. I could just remove it entirely, actually.
So, disk size, just to be able to, I don't know how much could this like balloon up. I mean, I don't know. We have 5 terabytes, so
It's all thin provision, so it doesn't matter.
we'll do 64 for this test. And we'll do. You want to make sure to like IO thread discard. I learned the hard way. And you'll do next. Sockets and cores. We have a limited number of cores, like 8 per system, and so we'll probably just do 2.
I think we got 16.
That or 16.
Yeah, 16.
But it's pretty limited.
You might want to give it 4 just because the installation takes a lot of processing
Yeah.
power.
I forgot about that. Just for the sake of this class, just speed it up.
So if you couldn't hear them over there, the idea is that you would ultimately end up with 2 cores for almost every VM is fine. Your indexer and stuff may grow later down the road, but for getting through installation, it's nice to have more cores. So you could temporarily give it 8, and then when they're done, they're going to bump it back to 2.
Yep.
Make sure you guys talk loud because that microphone's up.
Yeah.
Something to speed up your system is this type box. He's scrolling all the way to the bottom and it's going to select host.
Could do host, although I don't
Always do host.
always do host.
Yep.
Unless you have a mixed environment, there's no
Always
reason
do
to
host.
emulated.
Yep. Host. Then we'll.
And then actually for our system, it's nice to enable NUMA. It's not required, but it's helpful since we're a dual proc system.
Sure. All right. Next. Memory. We have like 140 something gigs of memory, but we'll just do
I don't know.
we'll just do 4 gigs.
That's the minimum. You gotta set the
Well, I can read.
So 2048 down there.
Next.
So what that's going to do is it'll give you 4 gig of RAM, but it will start with 2 gig of RAM and it will balloon up as needed so that you're not chewing up the entire server.
This is going to be probably the hardest part of managing our system. Virtualized networking can get in a lot of people's heads just because it's hard to visualize. So everything on our system is running through the internal bridge. You'll never have to change this.
Yeah.
And then you'll have to change the tag based on our topology. Looking back in our topology, you can see that little box down there by the switch. We have 5 networks based on 5 different VLANs. Those all go back to the router, but when you create a VM, you're going to have to set which VLAN you want so it applies to that network. So say, for example, this system's going to go on the services network. We're going to go set our VLAN tag to 1020.
And that will put us on the services network.
And when you guys are going back and forth, matching which network this machine is on, how it's going to get from A to B, make sure and watch these VLAN tags.
Next.
Go ahead and trip off your firewall in the back one.
The firewall's off globally.
Believe so. Uncheck the firewall.
Where am I seeing that?
It's
Oh,
right
firewall.
on the VLAN
Okay.
tag.
There we go.
And then that's just going to be a review of what you want. And for us, we're just going to click finish. And you're going to see that VM pop up right down there. It'll take a couple seconds to build itself and should be ready whenever the name pops up.
All right.
And so you'll notice down at the bottom down there, the usernames of everybody come in. So as you guys see other people doing other stuff on the system, we'll be able to see all that point in. All the logs and things that are coming off this Proxmox are obviously going to get sent to the indexer and everything else. So we'll be able to log who did what, when, where.
And so we'll go ahead and start.
And you're able to go over to console and you might want a full screen just to get more size.
Yeah, note you can change your resolution inside those VMs. So if you need more resolution, you can adjust that.
And we'll go ahead and try or install Ubuntu server.
Now, normally in production, you would set up a default Ubuntu server install, set it up as a template, and then you would clone that template out for whatever other services you would want. But most environments would have a template that has all the pre-configured usernames, passwords, things like that for a basic install, and then go from there. If you guys choose to do that, you could do that as well.
The installation process for machines like this is different depending on which version you have, what distribution of Linux or Windows you might have, but they all follow the same basic structure of you fill out some information, username, password, how you want the storage to go. Biggest thing is we can change basically anything after the fact if we decide it's wrong in the future, but keeping track of our usernames and passwords is going to be the most important thing. If you want to put those in Discord for right now, or when we get the documentation server up, that's a great place to put it.
There again, the importance of changing your default password. So if Caden wanted to be Henri, he could log in as Gage and then do a bunch of bad stuff as Gage. Right? So change your passwords.
I don't suggest doing that to the administrators. It will go poorly for you.
Okay, English. You can just use your arrow keys. Done. We'll
just do the minimized version just because this will go faster. But for you guys, most of the time, you might just want to do the regular Ubuntu server.
Minimize is all good and well, but it is extremely minimized. Like there's not even Nano or any kind of text editor by default. I don't even think VI is installed by default. So you have to be pretty careful using the minimal one.
So here you can configure interface. You'll see that you'll get your address on the services network. You might want to just set a static IP. We've only set up a DHCP pool of about 40 addresses. So we're going to run out eventually.
Okay, and we'll click edit IPv4. And we'll
Not to throw more on your guys' plate, but what would it take for you to spin up a small instance of
Small instance of what?
IP manager we use?
Netbox.
Netbox. Thank you.
Yeah,
Because it's just one net and simple.
throw it up.
We can do
Okay.
it.
We'll come back to you guys on that next week.
Okay.
Okay, you can go to manual method and then add in your address.
Subnet. So this will be like you can see up here in your DHCP, it pulled 10.3.120. So you'll just do 10.3.20.0/24. You want to make sure to do /24. Address. Gosh. Let me,
For sake of argument, do we just want to
I don't know what
110?
10.
Again, it can be really whatever you want. We can change it later if we decide, but documentation is the big thing. Making sure we're not running over each other. If 3 different people choose the same IP address, we're going to start having problems.
Your gateway is going to be .1 on every every subnet, every VLAN. So 120, 130. So it's all going to be .1.
Yeah, the topology makes that pretty clear, but just for simplicity's sake, every gateway is the .1 of its network, and everything's a /24. Not trying to make this complicated.
Name servers, you can just do quad ones, 1.1.1.
That's probably something we'll put up eventually if this system gets far enough. We may put up our own DNS server, and we may have to change that in the future. Depends on what we decide to do as a class.
Just for the time being, save.
And you can see that, edit it, and it's going to apply that change. Continue on. We do not have a proxy address, so you can just leave that blank. It's going to check itself against a mirror just to see if there's any additional updates. It passed, so we can move on.
Just do the default. Just do the default.
Default. All right.
Yep.
And so
We don't need to make anything complicated. You can just leave the default storage configuration.
done.
We can.
Well, this is the one
We
that-
don't have to do the thing. Just leave the defaults.
Okay.
Here it'll confirm the action because it's going to wipe the disk. Click continue. Administrator accounts. So this is just your default user.
We've just called it administrator. Server name.
Test VM.
Yep, match whatever your VM ID is that you put in Proxmox.
Or so this would be like 300.
Nope.
No,
The
just
VM
the name,
name.
not the VM ID.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Pick a username.
It can be just the same as your regular name. Like this is all pretty self-explanatory. Just again, documentation.
Password.
CyberOps. This is gonna get blown away here in a little bit.
I like to go ahead and install SSH server. Do we want to do that?
Yeah.
Then they can administrate the rest from their
Yeah.
VM.
There's some optional packages, but for our sake, we're not going to install any. You should be able to. And then for Ubuntu specifically, it's just going to sit here and finish installing. Depending on the resources you gave it and like the load on the server, it can take 5 to 20 minutes. This one's been running in the background while we've been going through, so hopefully not that long.
So again, if you guys want to do this on your own, or if you guys come up with a template that you guys decide to use, I'm fine with either, whatever you guys choose. If you are going to run some for your own tests and then plan to blow them away, just let everybody know in Discord, say, here's the VM ID. I'm going to use this for this, and then I'm going to blow it away, right? Then before you delete anything, obviously check the Discord before you go through there. I can make this really restrictive, but then it defeats the whole creativity part of the SOC side. So feel free to install, work alongside, do it with somebody else. If you guys want to be working with somebody else, more than one person can have this console open. So you guys can both, through your VM, log into Proxmox and watch the other person's console on this side like I'm doing here. So here I'm actually in Cadence pod, but I don't have to be. I can be in my pod connected to the Proxmox system watching the console as well. So there's an easy way for you guys to work as a team effort. While this is going, is there anything else in Proxmox you want to show them?
There's probably one other thing if you want to back out. That can run just in the background. It's its own machine. Something you guys will want to keep notice of is when you're making major changes, like say I'm just going to use this live Debian machine as an example. When you're testing things or making installation updates or anything like that, you can go down here on the content panel and there's things like backups and snapshots. If you maybe want to take a snapshot of your machine so you can create like a point in time of it. So if you go run an update or run a command and it absolutely breaks the machine, you can go revert to this snapshot and act like you never did any of that. Or you can run backups to create a full copy of the machine. So again, if we do something and it utterly breaks it, we can go back to the last point in time it was working and we're just fine.
We're going to attempt to go through each one of these and at least do the backups portion of it. The caveat here on your snapshots is I don't want you going any deeper than one snapshot. So we don't want multiple layers of snapshots. There's a couple reasons for that. One is performance. Two, if we do have to migrate you off to one of the other hosts for performance stuff, we have to wipe away all your snapshots. So
I'm actually curious if they fixed that. They just came out with a new experimental snapshot feature exclusively for directory storage.
gotcha.
It's supposed to be like it extends the Q cow rather than making multiple that it has to intercept upon itself. I don't actually need to enable it, but I need to try that out. So yeah, this one finally finished, and you can just get the reboot commands. It'll usually throw an error here, but that's fine. That's just because it has a CD drive that's still attached.
To the ISO.
It's not gonna carry.
On that screen, if you didn't see it, you'll need to press enter to continue on, and then it'll go ahead and reboot itself.
Again, a lot of this, if you get stuck, AI is a great tool. It'll help you a lot through this, or there's plenty of different guides online and random websites you can go to that'll walk you through the same process.
Okay, so now that we're here, we'll log into administrator account. For ops. Okay. And we're going to want to install Kimu guest agent pretty much instantly. So you're going to want to get into your super user account. So Sue, yeah, cyber ops. On the minimal build, even sudo isn't a thing. So
Well, you have sudo.
Yeah, you
You're missing sudo.
oh. Yeah, okay. I'm just there we go. And so you want to do apt update and just run that.
That'll just go request updates from the main Ubuntu server. It'll just go through this package list and grab anything.
And then you'll do apt install QEMU dash guest dash agent.
The Kimu guest agent is
So you hit Y there.
Yep.
Go back to the Proxmox side. And then up to the summary tab. And if you scroll down there in the
Of the
middle.
IP address.
So you'll notice now the guest agent is not configured. It doesn't pull the IPs on the other side. So that's one quick check to see whether or not you have the guest agent installed, but you also have to have it installed and marked in the system. So now you can finish up there.
So want to hit yes, enter.
That's going to go ahead and install that. Then
Okay, and then once that is installed on the VM side, then now you can go into options and
it's at the bottom.
at the bottom, Human Guest Agent, you'll double click, and then you can click
Both of those.
both of these. And so that will enable it. Click OK.
That's an important thing to notice on Proxmox. If you're changing any hardware or option settings, if it shows up as orange, it's not actually active. You're going to have to shut down and turn the machine back on for the changes to take effect.
And you just
Don't stop.
oh I did.
Yeah, don't ever stop.
That might have some data corruption, but for this test,
It's fine. So
It's always best to use shutdown.
in that case, then we can turn it back on.
The difference between the two is shutdown will actually run the command shutdown and actually shut it down. If you hit stop, it's like pulling the power cord on the VM.
mm-hmm.
If we go back up to
Summary.
Usually takes a second to load. Yeah, now you'll see it's not running. Now it's just waiting for the machine side to load. Go back to console as it fully loaded. Okay, it's loaded, and then hopefully. And now you can see actually the chemo guest agent is responding to Proxmox and giving additional information like your IP addresses. Chemo guest agent is technically optional, but it's really important for working with Proxmox for just giving it additional information. It helps with the shutdown commands and making that an easier process. So we're going to basically require that it's on every single machine you guys create.
All right, so now how would they go blow this away if they're done playing and setting it up?
You would go shut down. And now human guest agent. Yeah, human guest agent should make that easy. So you click on here.
And you might want full screen just to make it easier. But yeah, over on this top area,
You'll click more, remove, and I want to destroy that. And so you're going to put in your ID. So
and then you might as well go ahead and click those two boxes. That's just to, we may not want to for this specific project. Those are just to destroy extra disks and purge logs.
and go remove.
And that's going to delete itself.
And it's gone.
Okay.
And it's gone. Yeah.
So again, you guys are welcome to work on that a little bit this weekend. If somebody's going to start one of the install processes or whatever else, obviously keep your communication up on Discord. And then you know, one or two people can do it. If you're struggling, you can work together and watch one live if you want, however you guys want to go in and work on that. I wouldn't recommend trying to do everything through the console that you saw here unless you guys are working together. Otherwise, you want to show them installing some kind of
You
PuTTY
do.
or something.
You can go out here to PuTTY. It really doesn't matter if you want Terraterm or PuTTY, but I like PuTTY.
Just make sure you're getting it from this particular site in the UK.
Yeah, greenland.org.
Or you can just get Terraterm and have something that doesn't look sketchy.
One day it will
Like
load.
the site is even working.
There you go.
That'll be
Sketchy as all hell.
Oh gosh.
But it's just fine. Works great.
I'm
So
going down.
download it here.
This is why Terraterm's better.
I don't know why that's being so slow.
I stand by my choice.
I'm gonna avoid that down.
Download it here. Okay, well, PuTTY doesn't want me to download it. We'll go see Terraterm.
A
Terratermproject.github.io.
Alex sketched it.
Really can't win. And don't mind all the Chinese characters. Also
Yeah.
not sketched.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna download that onto my computer.
Yeah. Gauge.
It's better than that thing.
I don't know.
It's at least on GitHub.
All right, so under installer, grab one of those links.
This.
And so obviously we deleted that virtual machine, so we can't test this, but if you go ahead and get it installed.
Might be able to do Proxmox itself.
You're gonna go fake on the root user.
No.
No. Next. Terraterm. Launch it.
The idea is just SSH here, right? So if you installed that OpenSSH server, you can come in here, put the IP address up in host, leave everything else set to where it's at and hit OK, and it will log you back into that system so you have your own console. The benefit of that is you can easily copy and paste here. So if you are copy and pasting commands off of maybe a website that you're at here on your inner client, it's going to be much easier to copy and paste those commands in this fashion.
Yeah, just the same as like you on your physical machines cannot copy paste into this VM.
Right.
You can't from this VM copy paste into the VMs you create on Proxmox.
Technically you can, it's a pain, but you can.
It's a big pain. Don't go down the spice route.
No, you don't need Spice. You can just use VNC and do it, or if you change it over to Xterm.
That one's a pain too. It doesn't work half the time.
Much better solution is to SSHN. That's the standard sysops way of doing stuff anyway. All right. Anybody have any questions on what they should be doing?
So the only thing we need to do for this week is just the video that Kaden put out on.
Yep. So as far as this quote assignments that I would like to see done this week is installing the BG info, follow the video Caden put out there. And that hopefully by this week, you guys are starting to figure out how you're going to deploy as part of your teams and start deploying VMs. So I don't expect a fully functional VM by Sunday, especially with, I know half of this physical class is going to be out in Denver. So, not too worried about that. As long as you guys are starting to make progress, that'll work for then Tuesday. We'll have the documentation stuff up, or at least the first rendition of it. You guys can all get signed into that. That'll be one of the milestones next week. Get your team set up in there, and then you guys can start logging documentation in there for everything that you're doing. So it's a sad day for Putty.
I hate Putty.
All right. Anything else you guys need to describe on Proxmox? Okay.
No.
Let's see here. So I'm going to close that. There again, you guys can have your reservations out. If you need more time in a reservation, you can always request more time. I think you guys get 8 extensions in there. Just know that you can always end your reservation making for another 8 hours at any point in time.
Yeah.
Right. At this point, I still want those VMs to go ahead and shut down. If I leave them running, which is an option, I would have 22 machines running and we would start to chew up the resources on that system. If we can handle it, I may end up switching and letting that happen, which I'm pretty sure it would probably handle that just fine. In which case, then we could test all the agents being up and that kind of stuff. So that's a tweak I can make down the road. For now, just let everything shut down. It will save all of your information. It's not going to revert to snapshot like most of your NetLab labs. One thing that did come in with a student, if you guys are in this class and also say INF322, for example, or 291 for some weird reason, you shouldn't be. But in 292, once you log in via this way in Blackboard, you will no longer be able to log in this way for your 292 class. So for 292, you would just go to an incognito window and log in to labs.fhsu.edu as normal. Everything will work fine. But for this class, you'll want to log in through Blackboard and it will set a cookie that will force you to always do that.
That's why. Okay.
Yep. And if I could just get my other instructors to, graduate to 2025, we'd be good to go. Kidding, John. All right, anybody else? Let's see, Ian, Kevin, Jackson, Bo, Corbin, you guys got any questions?
I tried signing up through the open lab, like through like you just said, through Blackboard. Was I supposed to start a new reservation?
Yeah,
Because I
so
have 2 open reservations.
when you
So
come
I'll
in
be starting-
No.
Blackboard here, you should be able to just come into your class project, open lab, and then just make a reservation for your pod. So when you come in here, you won't see this. This is me as the instructor, but if you come in and do a lab for myself, you would see a pod and it should be only one pod available here for you. Does that answer what you were asking? Sorry, Kevin, you were breaking up there a little bit.
Yeah, that answers. Sorry.
Yep, no problem. Corbin, do you have something?
Not really. I'm just trying to catch up here. I just got here. My bad.
No worries. All right, so we'll have this video that'll get you into the Proxmox side. And then again, if there's something else that we're missing, throw it in Discord, please. So that we can do that if we need extra channels, whatever else in Discord. But it seems like from what I've seen so far, Discord's working well for you guys being able to collaborate. So I'm going to keep that moving forward and we'll use that tool. I think it's a lot better than discussion boards in Blackboard, but a little more instantaneous versus posts and submits. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll wrap that up. And then, like I said, Tuesday, we'll get you access into that documentation system. That should all be finalized. There's just some other tweaks I wanted to do to make it a whole lot easier for everybody. Make sure, like we listed here in the announcements, that you have at least this stuff done. So ignore this on Thursday part. But you guys will need the BG info set up and installed on your Windows machine. I'll send another announcement after this as to what's quote unquote due. Okay, this BG info thing, if you watch the video, it took what, 3 minutes? It was a pretty short video.
It was like a 10-minute video.
Okay, 10-minute video, but that's him actually walking through it. You actually doing it will take a very short amount of time. All right, cool. We'll see you guys on Tuesday.
The only other question I had too